My mother's final day was not marked by fear or surrender, but by choice, dignity, and an act of quiet defiance. She did not want cancer to dictate her end. She did not want to wither away in a hospital bed, tethered to tubes waiting for her body to give out. She wanted control, which was something cancer had stripped from her for far too long. And thanks to California's End of Life Option Act, she was able to reclaim that control. In the 3 weeks leading up to my mom's chosen day, her home became a sacred space filled with love, laughter, and sadness. As with so many forgiveness gatherings, friends and family poured in by the dozens. They didn't just want to say goodbye, they needed to say goodbye. In the good moments, they sat beside her on the couch, holding her hand one last time, her lips painted a vibrant red. If you knew her, you wouldn't expect anything less. In the harder moments, they crawled into bed beside her, and she reassured them with a tissue to dry their tears, though she no longer had the strength to shed her own. In those final days, I bore witness to stories exchanged between whispered I love yous and quiet sobs. Some questioned her choice, but she remained steadfast. She was resolute, unyielding. This was her decision, her power. She chose June 28th, 4 days after my birthday. It was deliberate. She wanted to celebrate with me one last time, but she also wanted enough distance so my special day wouldn't always be shadowed by grief. As she napped that afternoon, my dad, my aunt, and I sat around the kitchen table quietly wondering if she could hold on that long. The tumors were relentless. They were ravaging her body at an unforgiving pace. A few days later, she confided in us that she didn't think she could make it to June. So she willed herself to reach May 20th, just long enough to see her cousin from Canada on May 18th. Then, with her newly found signature macabre humor, she added, "If I can stay alive till Saturday, I might as well just stick around for Sunday and have one last breakfast with all of our cousins." Sunday breakfasts were a tradition that they had honored for decades. And then, ever practical, she added, "Besides, you don't want me to die on the weekend. You'll have to pay overtime for the mortuary team." So Monday it was. She chose her day, and I made the calls. We began planning a peaceful goodbye, honoring my dad's only request. "You're not taking that stuff in our bedroom." With that, some thoughtful elves hauled my dad's old, battered lazy boy out to the garden, and I took him shopping for a new one. My mom would go peacefully in the garden she took so much pride in, the one my dad lovingly brought to life under her explicit directions. But knowing the day was set was the easy part, if any of this could be described as easy. Though we had a day and a time, I was concerned that I would screw something up, and that I would witness something other than the peaceful death the doctors assured me I'd see. For the 3 nights leading up to Monday morning, I woke in a panic and spent hours searching the internet for reassurance. But the world only gave me suicide hotlines. My mother was not suicidal. She was choosing to die with dignity. And yet, even in a country that prides itself on freedom, only 10 states allow this choice. Each morning I'd wake up and I'd go to the safe and I'd hold that bag in my hands and read the directions all over again. The medication in my hands carried the weight of something both terrifying and profound, power and dread intertwined. But I knew this was the greatest act of love I could give her. The pain was winning, and she had taught me that taking control in the face of suffering is not a weakness, it is a strength. On the morning of May 20th, 2024, my dad helped my mom get dressed. True to form, even in her final moments, she insisted on looking her best. White pants, a lime green shirt, gold flats, and a stunning white scarf, blessed by the Dalai Lama. This Catholic girl was stepping out in style, wrapped in the support of as many faiths as she could gather. And of course, her lips were painted a bright, bold, beautiful red. When she joined us at the dining room table, she was transformed. She was radiant, like weightless, as if the relief ahead had already begun to lift her. We, on the other hand, we were anchored in sorrow. Our smiles were for her, bright and unwavering, but our eyes told the truth of love, of loss, of the relentless grief that was already beginning to take hold. She sat at the head of the table, ready. Before taking what she called the concoction, she had to take some anti-nausea pills an hour in advance. And at 10 o'clock, she did. For the next 45 minutes, we lingered around the table, expecting to fill the time with our usual questions, asking her to share memories and moments from her life. But she turned the tables on us. "What's your favorite memory of me?" she asked. We stumbled through our answers, laughing, reminiscing, grasping at fleeting moments we wished we could hold on to forever. Then, just as I silently thanked my aunt for having a recorder in her hand, she spoke words that landed deep in my heart. "And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make." The weight of that quote struck me, and it felt so profound. I asked her to repeat it, and she did.
"And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make." Thanks, Mom. Paul McCartney.
Mom, it's just a Beatles lyric from the song The End. Yet somehow, so perfectly her, so perfectly timed, so perfectly apropos, so perfectly poetic. And after that moment of levity, my dad helped my mom to the garden, and they said to each other what only a couple needs to say after 53 years of marriage. Just before 11 a.m., we all joined them outside and found a place to sit on quilts my friend had laid out on the grass. The music from Gregorian chanters filling the air, music that brought my mom great comfort in difficult moments. Holding that little bottle in her hand, she mused, "After all this stuff better work." And as if drinking a sip of water or a cup of coffee, she drank up the concoction of poison. With the hands of her loved ones resting on her body, she fell asleep under the Japanese maple tree in her backyard. For the next 40 minutes, we heard my mom snore in a way she hadn't had the energy to in years. The rustling of leaves and chirping birds were the only sounds we heard. It was as if she had orchestrated this bubble of peace around her deep sleep. And then nothing. I tell you this story as a daughter who once feared death. I didn't want to talk about it, I avoided hospitals, and I did everything I could to sidestep a funeral. But this experience transformed me. I have seen death not only as an ending, but for some as a choice, a deeply, deeply personal one that should be available to those with terminal illnesses and who are already in hospice care. I know it's not a choice for everyone, but it should be available to everyone who wants it. Right now, it's not. That has to change. If this story resonates with you or even just sparks curiosity, please visit deathwithdignity.org. You can check where your state stands on this issue. Learn what steps to take if you want to support legislation or simply better understand what medical aid in dying truly means. You may never need this choice, but someone you love might. My mom had the choice, and it gave her dignity in death. That is the gift I will fight for, because no one should have to beg for peace.